Today our topic is genetic modified food, and our group mates include me, Yan, Harrison, Alex, and also Tony. So I will now introduce the genetic modified to you. I think the genetic modified no longer be a strange term to the public, since the man has been genetic modifying for many things for many time. In the past, the only tools to control the genes should be the selective breeding, but it is really time consuming, and also the result not quite accurate. As the time goes, a more advanced and time-saving technique, genetic engineering, was developed, which allowed the scientists to insert the desirable trait into another plant or animal in order to transfer the desirable phenotype from an individual to another individual. So I would like to introduce the principle of the genetic engineering to all of you. It is really simple that we should isolate a desirable trait from an individual first, and then we will insert it into another cell, another cell of another individual. And then eventually another individual will acquire the desirable phenotype. So I will now pass the time to Yan.
Now I'm going to talk about some details and some examples of GM food. Pan genetics can isolate a gene responsible for drought tolerance and insert into a different pan, so the new genetically modified pan will gain the drought resistance. Besides transferring the gene from one pan to another, we can also transfer the genes from non-pan organisms. The best known example of this is the use of the Bt gene in corns and other crops. Bt is a bacterium that produces crystal proteins that are lethal to insect larvae. Bt crystal protein genes can be transferred into corns and enable the corns to produce its own pesticides against the insects, such as corn broiler. One example of GM food is corn. It is genetically modified so that it can resist to the herbicides. Also, it is insect resistant, so it can increase the production yields. Moreover, there is the production improvement in nutritional value, such as production of vitamin and vegetable counts and the increase in beta-carotene value. Now I'm going to pass the time to Harrison.
Now I will explain the advantages of GM food. Pest-resistant GM food can help eliminate the application of chemical pesticides which cause harm to the environment. And secondly, herbicide-tolerant crop can help prevent environmental damage by reducing the amount of herbicides needed, so the production costs decrease and also limit the dangers of agricultural waste runoff. Thirdly, many viruses, fungi, and bacteria cause plant sick. Disease-resistant crops can help the ability to reduce the chance of getting ill. And finally, as the population grows and more land is utilized for housing instead of food production, farmers will need to grow crops in locations that are unsuitable for plant growth. So, cold tolerance and drought tolerance GM crops will help farmers to cultivate in the harsh environment. I will let Alex further explain the advantages of GM food.
Malnutrition is common in third world countries, where poor people rely on a single crop, such as rice, for the main component of their diet. However, rice does not contain enough amount of all necessary nutrients to prevent malnutrition. If rice could be genetically engineered to contain additional vitamins and minerals, nutrient deficiency could be solved. For example, blindness due to vitamin A deficiency is a common problem in third world countries, so that one kind of GM food has been developed called golden rice, which contains high content of vitamin A and iron content to help to solve the nutrition deficiency problem. Let me pass the time to Tony.
Even there are many advantages about the GM food, but there are still some risk about the GM food. and there are majorly 6 aspects. For example, the direct health effects and the tendency to provoke allergic reaction. Yes. And what is the future about the GM food? The scientists said that and it will have an exponential growth of the GM food. It's because the researcher gain increasing access to the genomic resources that are applicable to the organism beyond the scope of individual projects. And let me give you some examples for the future GM food. And for example, the drugs in the food, and there we will have the banana produce human vaccine against infectious disease such as hepatitis B, and also the metabolically engineered food. For example, fish will mature more quickly, fruit and nut trees will yield earlier. Yes, and that's the end of our presentation. Yeah, thank you.